Hi, this is Tim Hinton, the Beast of the Marching Arts. I'm the host of the Marching Roundtable podcast and the creator of marchingartseducation.com. Thanks for being here at our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe so you can see exclusive live interviews, plus excerpts from podcasts, webinars, and interviews from live events. This is really the best way to find out what you might want to go back to our website and see an entire conversation. Thanks for being here. We hope you'll subscribe to our channel. Hey, this is Tim, and I'm here with Mike Wells, Director of Bands at Plymouth Canton Educational Park High School Band. Mike, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So congratulations on another great season for the band. Every week we've been doing some band reviews on our special show, Marching Arts Now, and the TX Band guys, one of the categories is, well, what's the most over-the-top thing you saw this weekend? So on week 4 of our special show, they chose Plymouth Canton. We talked about the show on our broadcast. So congratulations on being a talked about band. Everybody's buzzing. It's super fun. There's this crazy scene with a restaurant. The whole field is sort of like a restaurant scene, and many people have seen it. So I just wanted to know, how much fun must this be?
It's a blast. It's definitely a show that the more we talk about with the staff and our designers and the whole team, that it's one of those things where, well, what about this? And we can add this, and this it'd be cool if we add this, and if we get out a breadstick here and we do that. And every time that we we have a meeting, and sometimes it's after rehearsal or over lunch, and food is a very common thing. We all need food, and we're all around food, and so every time that we meet, it's, well, here's a new idea and here's something cool. So it's been a blast to put together, and there's still a ton more that we're adding over the next couple of weeks, and it's exciting.
Well, I think it's fantastic. Where did this idea come from?
The idea itself, we have a lot of incredible designers. Rick Subel is our artistic designer. He's incredible, just brilliant. We love working with Rick. And we sat down as a staff at the end of, it would have been 2019, and said, hey, how do we want to put together this next show? We put together a couple parameters, and our goals were that we wanted to create a show that had a all-inclusive set design. We did a show in 2019 that was kind of about dreams, and we found it a little bit more difficult to then match a uniform to that and kind of the entire visual products. So we said, going into it, we want a show that has that ready to go. And so we actually ended up talking a lot about movies, because those are, when you think of movies that you love, it has that scenery and the music and everything that goes with it. And so we eventually kind of ventured down the path of Pixar movies, and we actually got to Ratatouille and said, well, that actually fits that perfectly. If I say a restaurant, you immediately think chefs, you immediately think waiters, waitresses, tables, tablecloths, and everything that goes in the restaurant. And so we kind of went that path. And then our other goal was that we wanted the show that was just unapologetically Plymouth. Plymouth, we're very lucky, and as alumnus of the program, we are very much, we're lucky to have a history of pushing the activity and just doing things that are very over the top. If you look at the history of the program, whether that's in 2010 with the Source Show with the tarps ever over the field, or 2001 eliminating the battery from the field and putting that together, that visual spectacle, and you go back to the Sweeney Todd year, and there's a lot of stuff. And so we wanted to kind of get back to our roots a little bit and just be so over the top that people look at it and go, that's Plymouth, and it's fun, and it's exciting, and it's something that we take pride in, the students love, and the community love, and it's something that we really wanted to make happen this year with the show.
Well, I have to tell you that it is incredibly Plymouth. I thought, well, who else would do this? You're one of the few bands I can think of. I will tell you that anytime I've tried to do a show that's sort of like this, it can be overwhelming because there's so many pieces to the puzzle. There's so many set pieces to bring out and props, and how do you not get overwhelmed by just all the stuff? I know it's cliche, but it takes an entire village to put it together. We have an amazing crew of parents that are, they are just the best people. They are incredibly supportive. And if if we say, hey, we want to build a wall, they say, all right, how tall? How big is it going to be? Where is it going to be? How can we move it? And so we came to them with this crazy idea, and they said,
all right, let's get to work. And they've been building props literally since April. We are still building stuff in our band room right now. And our band room has turned into a scene shop, basically, where we're willing to sacrifice some of our space to get some of these props in there. And it's a big effort to get everyone on the same page. And our parents are just willing to do anything it takes to help the students and allow them to be successful, for the season. So it's a lot, and it's a lot of coordination and a lot of meeting about, okay, you're going to take this prop here and this prop there, and the students they are incredible. And there are certainly some issues, where, okay, well, we tried this and let's find a better way to do that. And so we've had our fair share of experiences that we've learned from, but now that we have a couple weeks left in the season, we can feel pretty confident about, all right, we know how to move these now and we're good to go, and we're getting used to it. So but it is a lot.
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I just love that you're sort of just going for it. Like, I mean, if there was ever a year when you're like, well, let's just have fun and go for it, and be like, this feels like the right year for that. What do your students think about getting to perform this show? And I'm sure these great crowd reactions.
They love it. And every time that we're able to share a little bit more about what our plans are, it's amazing to see how excited they get about that. And whether that's the first time that we were able to put together the entire set design on the field, and they saw, because we have meetings and we told them about, hey, we're gonna have walls and menus and all this, and then once you see it, that's a totally different experience. And so I know that they take pride in the fact that their show is a lot of fun, and that makes it easier for them to perform and more valuable and just more fun for them. And it's exciting that when you know that you have a product that is enjoyable, and whether that's Timmy Trumpet's grandma that's watching it, they're gonna love that show, or if it's our awesome seasoned judges that have been doing this for a very long time, they're gonna enjoy the show as well. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone, and the students know that, and because of that, it makes it just a blast every day. Rehearsal is fun, and that's really how it should be. And it's a blast when you know that it's going to be a memorable performance and a memorable show.
Mike, I always say I want to help design or be a part of a show that's the show everybody's talking about when they walk to their car. There's no doubt that you're one of those shows that everybody's talking about when they walk to their car or after they've watched the broadcast of Box 5 TV, whatever they're doing. I think it's wonderful. I also love that you guys are proving a point that I find really personally valuable, which is that you can be fun and creative and entertaining and score well and do hard things and have a lot of depth. Like you guys are proving that yet again.
Yeah, and that's Rick Subel is it's the reason why he's brilliant. We love working with Rick, and we had a lot of discussions early on about how is this going to be perceived. And we had that conversation of, if we aren't quality, then it's going to come across as cheesy. And there are certainly cheesy moments. We have purposely put those in there, and there's a lot of those things we're still adding in. But the quality and the education of the students performing, and them playing their instruments well and spinning well and drumming well, that's first and foremost. And then within that, or the results of that, that's how we can do some of the fun stuff. And so Rick in these meetings came up with a whole bunch of ideas, and it was, well, what about this? What about this? And every time you talk about them, it's well, yeah, that'd be hilarious. Of course, let's put that in. Why wouldn't we do that? And it just snowballs into so many ideas that, it's one of those things, again, that we are just happy to have a show finally that is, it kind of writes itself, it's enjoyable, and we're very, very lucky to have Rick on board, and we're excited to continue to add this thing and put it all together.
Yeah, and it's also one of those shows where everybody completely relates to it, because either you've been sitting in a restaurant or serving a restaurant, or I love that part of the show where you get the complaining patron and the waiters have to deal with. I just think that was I just associated immediately, and I think that's one of the reasons it works so well, is because we all know exactly what all that is, and we bring that part of ourselves to it. That's always a great ingredient for a show.
Yeah, and that's also Vince Oliver is on our team as well, and Vince is amazing, and Vince was the one that really put together kind of that storyboard and that script with Rick. You know, they work very closely together, and the two of them said, okay, well, we really want a moment where a customer complains, you know, or sends the soup back. Oh, it's not quite right, and you know, so we had a lot of those things, and Vince was the mastermind that said, okay, here's exactly how this would fit into a marching band show with a a specific amount of counts and you know the instrumentation and making sure it's heard and everything. And so he was able to put that all together. And you know the storyboard from the beginning was pretty clear to us. You know, we wanted to make sure that we were setting up our restaurant, and then we have a you know, a scenario where a patron is in there and they get their food and then they complain. And then, you know, throughout that, the food gets sent back to the kitchen, which is where we see our drum line and our percussion break with the pots and pans. And at the very end, it's all the desserts and, you know, everything that would go into, you know, the ending of a meal. And then, you know, at the end, you get the check. And so it's a very relatable experience that we all have. And it's one of those that you think about and go, well, why hasn't it done before? You know, like this is a very obvious, cool thing to do, and it's something that everyone can relate to, like you said.
Well, it is, but also not everybody has the forces to pull something like this off. So I just, you know, like you mentioned before, I appreciate all the time and effort that everybody in your whole band family has clearly put into this. Every student that's working on it, your staff, all the parents. Like, there's no doubt when you watch something like this that this took a village. You know, it took a lot
Yeah,
of villages.
yeah, and it's every single day. Our crew of parents that are building specifically the props are in 7 days a week in our band room. They're sacrificing so much time. You know, a lot of our parents will work from 9 to 5, 10 to 6, and then they'll just come straight to the band room and they'll build all night long. And then the next day they'll continue on, and once they're done with one set of props, they'll just keep going to the next set of props. I mean, they've built uh, a dozen tables and a bunch of walls that are restaurant-sized walls. We have some menus and an entire kitchen. They have quite literally made a restaurant on a football field, and it's a lot of work. And again, we're very lucky and blessed to have a lot of amazing parents that will do whatever it takes to support our students and allow them to have an amazing experience.
Right, and I should mention also figure out somehow to schlep this around from show to show. Like, I won't even get into that part, but I don't know how many extra semis you guys bring along. I don't want to hear about that part, I think, but
It's
I'm
a
just
lot.
the logistics. You know, as a former band director, man, Mike, I'm really glad that I'm sure you're sleeping some, but anyway, I think it's fantastic. I do want to ask you this. Plymouth Canton obviously has been a part of Bands of America for a long, long time. Why do you guys still participate in these specific Bands of America contests?
For me, that's a no-brainer. I think, and I really strive to provide my students with the best experiences that I can. And as a marching member, as an alumnus of the program, the experience of participating at BOA is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that you really can't duplicate. You know, I can't describe to you the feeling of performing at Lucas Oil Stadium or at a BOA regional, or you know the feeling of at the end of the show, at the end of a finale retreat, getting to break ranks and meet a whole bunch of people that just shared that similar experience with you. You know, we really strive to provide students with amazing experiences, and we base our entire educational process off of that. Yes, they're learning to play instruments. Yes, they're learning to make music, and you know these you know relationships with their colleagues and their friends. But it's the experiences that I, as an educator, can provide those students that they may not be able to get anywhere else. And so for us, it's a no-brainer that BOA is that avenue to do that. You know, and it's something that whatever a band program is doing, maybe that experience is going to Carnegie Hall. Maybe that experience is you know, playing at a local opening of a restaurant or something. It's the experience that's really valuable for the students, and that's what they're going to remember. And for us, the experience at BOA is the one that we really strive for, and it's one that the students love, and we're to continue to do as long as we can.
Well, I love it. And again, I can't wait to see the show as the season progresses toward the end and see what other surprises you guys have in store for us. but it's a show everybody's talking about, and I think that that's why I'm talking to you. And so I just want to say congratulations. My hat's off to everybody in your band family for pulling this off. Those kids look like they're having so much fun. And as a band guy, especially coming out of this whole thing we've just been through, it just makes me as happy as I can be.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. And we're just glad again that the students are having fun and that we can do this, not being able to do all this last year. And it just makes it that much more valuable. So we're very much appreciative of everyone in the entire community, and the entire marching arts community that we can do this. And we're so excited to go to BOA in a couple weeks. And we want as many people to see us as possible because it's a fun show. And we're excited to showcase these wonderful students.
Well, if you're not going to be there in person, everybody, make sure you're watching on Box 5 TV. You do not want to miss the final iteration of this show that's been growing all season. Mike, great job. Thank you for taking time to talk to me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.